So the Maroons obviously need to bounce back, and New South Wales, they can simply just continue on. So who are your two key players across both teams, Will, that you think are going to make a big difference?
Well, obviously there's a lot of key inclusions for Queensland with Thurston and Slater back and the four debutants. But I think one player that I'm really looking for a big game from is Josh Papali. He's really got to stand up as the Maroon sort of senior enforcer, I guess, with no Nate Miles, no Sam Fido there. That's a big change to their pack, and I think Papali, his time is now. He's been named on the bench, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him slot into that starting lineup. And in the New South Wales team, I think Boyd Cordner, he's played very well for New South Wales since coming into the team a couple of years ago, but he's their captain now. Last week, the first game was probably a bit of a not an armchair ride, but a pretty good introduction to him with his team winning so convincingly. I think with it being a bit tighter in this one, this is where the captain really needs to stand up.
Do you think the weight of expectation will be on New South Wales at all? And how do you think Laurie Daly will keep his players focused on the job?
Yeah, I think possibly they're under a bit more pressure than even the first game. They're heavy favourites for the first time in a long time. They're at home. They're expected to wrap up the series, so all the pressure's on them. Queensland sort of it is do or die for them, but they've also got nothing to lose. So it's a big job for Daly. I know they did it a couple of years ago in 2014, but it's going to be a big task, especially with Queensland having their experienced superstars back.
That's right. It should be fantastic. I mean, for me, I thought so. Tim Glasby coming into the team for Queensland, he's going to provide a bit of impetus off the bench, and I think you'll see him written off by a few idiot media people, perhaps, but really his value. The Melbourne Storm know how valuable he is, and so do the likes of Cameron Smith. I mean, during the week, he said of Glasby, he's been around for the game for a long time, and Tim is a professional. Out of all the games I played alongside him, he's never let the team down, and I'm sure he'll do the same for us. So, pretty compelling backing from the skipper there.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't get much higher praise than from Cameron Smith, and he'll really tighten up the middle, especially in that sort of key 15 minutes before half-time, which is where New South Wales started to get on top.
Correct. And secondly, the other player I think that's going to be very important is Mitchell Pearce for the Blues. Again, a bit of a game where he, like Daly, need to remove that pressure and just play what's in front of him, because halfbacks from New South Wales halfbacks, you think really only Andrew Johns going back in the mid sort of 2000s, really the last one to taste consistent success. So for him to be able to absorb the pressure and really command his team, it's going to be interesting. I mean, do you think he's, I guess, got it right, mentally as well to achieve something like that?
I think he's shown this year for the Roosters he is right mentally, but from the first game, he still wasn't that great for the Blues. He obviously scored that try, but his timing was a bit off. He seemed a little bit sort of rushed and certainly short of what he's been producing at first grade level. So he's still got a wee bit to do, Pierce, and it's an important game for him as always.
And finally, I'll put you on the line, Will. Some big pressure. I won't say there's no pressure. There's big pressure. Who do you think is going to take the game out and why?
I just think New South Wales at home are going to be just too good. I would love to see it decided, and I think Queensland will push them all the way, but I think New South Wales by 4, just the weight of history. I've got a few stats here if you'll indulge me.
Please.
There's been 35 previous series. 17 times the team's wrapped up the series in Game 2 after winning the series opener, so that's about a 50-50 split. But in the 11 times the team's lost the series opener at home and played Game 2 at the opposition's home ground, they've only bounced back to win the second game twice. So, it's a pretty tough thing to do if you drop that first game at home to go into enemy territory and square the series. It hasn't been done too often. Queensland in 1987, New South Wales in 1998, so it's also been a long time since someone did it. So, I think Blues just. What's your pick?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go the Blues again. The Queensland are sort of shuffling their players. The old brigade can only go on for so long, and I think the injection of youth that we sort of saw last year with the Blues they threatened to win, but it was just that performance from the Queensland's big players that got them across the line. And I think you're sort of seeing the tide slightly turning, so that the Blues should be able to establish with the likes of Tedesco and even Hayne coming back a real presence, and then the young forwards doing well, led by Boyd Coordinator.
Well, something that's pretty exciting in the rugby league world and in commentary box sports team as well is Andrew's new book, Their Finest Hour. Am I right to say that it came out on the shelves yesterday?
That's right, Will. Yeah, very exciting.
And I got my copy in the post yesterday, so here it is. Beautiful cover and a really great book. I've had a flick through it and I can't wait to get stuck into it properly. I just don't know much about it. It's a history of the World Cup in 10 matches, so it goes all the way from the first one between Great Britain and France in 1954 through to that epic semi at the 2013 tournament between England and New Zealand. There's a forward by Wayne Bennett and heaps of great interviews in here and beautifully written as well by Andrew. So go out and get yourselves a copy. And one question I wanted to ask Andrew, from all the legends that you interviewed for the book, who stood out as the most fascinating to have a chat to?
Oh, thank you, Will. I think it was Ricky Stewart, actually. I'd obviously never spoken to Ricky before, but to get his take on the 2008 Australian team was really interesting, because he's been obviously a very successful player, and then he moved on to coach as well at all levels. So it was great to understand his sort of coaching philosophy, how he thinks he's a player's coach, and what he looked to do with the Australian team, who were sort of dominating a fair bit in that time, and what he put the World Cup loss, which was obviously a big shock in 2008, down to. So I really liked the way he spoke. He was passionate, he was confident, and from an Australian perspective, I really enjoyed talking to Ricky.
Oh, it's fantastic, and plenty more great interviews in there. I see you talked to Brad Fittler, is that right, and Wally and all those sort of guys?
Yes, so Wally, we spoke at length actually about his career. He also provided a quote for the back of the book as well, which was great. And, the likes of Glenn Lazarus, and there's a whole host of others, Wayne Pearce as well, Brett Kamali, and sort of more recent players as well, and obviously Gary Parcell in the 1960s. So there's a few, I guess it spans across from 1954 through to 2013.
Fantastic, and as I said, go and get yourself a copy, go buy your dad a copy. It's a must-have for any league fan.
Thanks so much, Will, and thanks everyone for watching another edition of Spotlight. You can catch us on Facebook at Commentary Bot Sports, Twitter, and obviously our website.